right, welcome back. We are still in the heart of the bulletin with the current stories, developments across the country, and we were engaging you. We are still engaging you on our big question in as far as the donation that President William Ruto has so far given to the Catholic Church to, including other things, help children. And Kenyans have gone guns blazing, of course, demanding that the church returns that donation based on the declaration after the Gen Z protests that there shall be no harambes of the sort. And of course, there are questions of President William Ruto perhaps speaking, preaching wine and drinking water or vice versa. But I'm joined this, evening by very key voices. We're talking about the spat between the church, all right, and the government. Some would ask, where are other religious, religious groups? And I'm joined here by a balanced, panel to understand if the issue is just with the church or other religious groups are feeling but the same. I want to appreciate right here with us Alhaj Hassan Olenado, who's the national chairman of SUPKEM. Good evening.
Good evening, madam. Thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you for creating time. Reverend Dr. Elias Otieno Agola, who is the national chairman, NCCK. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Doris.
Let's start with the big Q.
Yeah.
Should the Catholic Church that received that donation return the money?
Thank you, Doris, and thank you, Kenyans. I believe this is an agenda that has to be discussed, put on the table and not be beneath the table.
All right.
We heard the president say that all civil servants are not supposed to participate in harambes.
Mm-hmm.
And then in a span of 2 days consecutively, he is able to contribute 10 million, one given by him and another one given by him through his deputy to the same church. So your question is, should this money be taken back?
Mm-hmm.
Well, preliminarily, yes.
Okay. But also, I want to go back. I want to go to the national chairman, SUPKEM. But before I do you agree that there is a problem with how the government is carrying out its duties in terms of the corruption, matters going on in health, education? Are you of the same sentiments that we've heard earlier on, especially on Thursday, to this point?
Well, this has been the voice of the National Council of Churches of Kenya all through.
Right.
And we have been consistent in saying that things are not going right.
You've been consistent?
We've been very consistent.
Okay.
And it's not only in issues of health, it's also in issues of education, it's also in issues of taxation, it is in issues of corruption. And we have been saying that the voice of the church and the voice of the religious institutions should be respected.
All right.
Because Kenya has more leaders, more than the political class only. And when a leader points out something that another leader is doing, then they are not supposed to be taken for granted. The other leader is supposed to search and say, what is this that this other leader is raising?
All right.
Because they are not the only leaders. We have leaders who are all over.
All right.
From grassroots, you will find a religious institution. So when we speak the voice of the voice on the ground.
All right, I'll come back to you. Saying you speak for the voice on the ground. Alhaj Hassan Olenado, national chairman, SUPKEM. When you say the church, you have actually said, of course, behind the tent, that it is not entirely the whole umbrella of religious leaders. So what would be opening remarks to this matter that is currently happening in the country? Karibu.
Yeah, thank you for having us this evening. And what I said is that some of the issues and even how the media itself portrayed religious leaders, they tend to want to segregate them, putting them, certain leaders to be the church leaders, meaning that other sectors of religious groups are not actually part of the concerns, which in my view is actually not right. Because
but how is it not right? We have the Catholic Church.
Let me say it.
Yes.
When you hear Catholic Church speak, you have seen NCCK saying something. You have heard us before saying something, again on the same issues.
All right.
But we have always spoken in two different platforms. Every group can speak on its own platform. as a group, for example, as Muslims. But sometimes we retreat and speak as interreligious, and we bring on board all the religious groups. But when you talk about the church, then it means you have many Christians, which means others are not involved in that conversation.
Okay.
But to me, what I'm seeing here is that there are issues that have been raised by the Catholic Church, but initially, all the issues they have actually talked about, they have spoken about, are the same issues everyone else is speaking about in this country. If you go back to the previous statements, immediately from the JNC era, the day when we had that problem in June,
the protests,
all through, yes, from the protest up to now, the religious groups have been consistent on these matters. Why we are concerned about and why the concerns are loud, they are loud because the current challenges the country is facing is actually at the core of the human life and human development. Because we are talking about education, we are talking about the health sector, we are talking about the economy of the country, and that is taxation, which is basically poverty. You know, we are taxing poverty now in this country. See, that's the issues that everyone else is talking about. And the issues that are now on the table are actually denying the government to enjoy the little progress they have made. Because when you do big mistakes, then the little gains that you have made is normally covered under the carpet.
All right. What is this that is covered, and should it be covered? Of course, you're talking about consistency, but there are a number of Kenyans who are questioning that consistency. Does the religious group act but when it is convenient for them, that they make State House a home for themselves and make the politicians kings on those particular podiums when it's convenient? We'll come back with that conversation shortly. Allow me, gentlemen. Meanwhile, the Council of Governors has threatened to shut down county operations in 30 days.